Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this SAG-AFTRA live stream on YouTube. To stay informed about all of our live stream and video events, we invite you to subscribe to this channel. You can go ahead and do that right now. Today, we present the President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement live stream, Music and Social Change. We'll be pausing throughout as we have a pair of ASL interpreters, Destiny Bradford, and Rory Burton here with us today to translate into ASL. Destiny and Rory will be switching off periodically throughout today's discussion. The presentation will begin momentarily. If you have questions that you would like to direct to today's guests, please email pteoe@sagaftra.org. Again, that's pteoe@sagaftra.org. As a reminder, today's program is being recorded and you can watch the replay right here on SAG-AFTRA's YouTube channel, along with more great content. So now, please give a warm welcome to today's host, SAG-AFTRA's incoming National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator, Duncan Crabtree-Ireland. Hi, Duncan.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. We put together a fantastic conversation for you today as we present music and social change. Though it should always be celebrated, we're here today specifically in observance of African American Music Month, which is a celebration of music in the United States. Through the generations, there have been notable songs like Ethel Waters' Supper Time, Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit, and Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, to KRS-One's Sound of the Police, Michael Jackson's They Don't Care About Us, and Esperanza Spalding's Land of the Free, and similar, with many of the lyrics highlighting and expressing a wrong in society that needs to be corrected. With its roots in African traditions, Black culture has played an essential role and has historically had a great influence on music and transcended rhythm and blues, disco, rock and roll, jazz, country, hip hop, and other genres around the world. Lyrics across many songs have often heightened public awareness while also serving as platforms for change, often by mirroring and giving voice to critical issues affecting Black communities on a global scale. Today's moderator and guests are here to talk about this and so much more. We've really wanted to present a music live stream for you, so I'm happy to note that we are partnering with and joined by our friends at the Recording Academy. If you're not already familiar with the Recording Academy, the organization represents the voices of performers, songwriters, producers, engineers, and all music professionals. Dedicated to ensuring the recording arts remain a thriving part of our shared cultural heritage, the Academy honors music's history while investing in its future through the Grammy Museum. It advocates on behalf of music creators, supports music people in times of need through Music Cares, which is an amazing organization, and celebrates artistic excellence through the Grammy Awards, music's only peer-recognized accolade and highest achievement. As the world's leading society of music professionals, the Recording Academy works year-round to foster a more inspiring world for creators. And we invite you to learn more about their work to build a more diverse world for music creators with events and programs focused on promoting diversity and inclusion, fighting for creators' rights, and protecting music people in need, and saving music in our schools, just to name a few. You can visit their website at Grammy.com. That's GRAMMY.com. With that said, I would like to introduce our extraordinary moderator, Karen Civil. It's so great to have you here, Karen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Karen is an author, philanthropist, content creator, and a global marketing entrepreneur. These only begin to describe one of the most recognizable forces behind social and digital media. Karen Civil has developed a powerful influence on everything she touches, including fashion, culture, tech, and even politics. However, it was her love of music that paved the way for her successful journey into the entertainment industry. Civil has bridged the gap between powerful brands and impactful artists for years, noting philanthropy as her driving motivation. For those of you who are watching online, if you have questions about today's discussion, as Shira mentioned, please email pteoe@sagaftra.org. Again, that's pteoe@sagaftra.org. And with that said, I'm going to pass the baton over to Karen to kick things off.
Thank you so much, Duncan. I'm so happy to be here joining all of the guests and everyone here at SAG-AFTRA. You know, I'm incredibly passionate about music and getting my start in media, landing my first radio opportunity to join Hot 97, working with DJ Funkmaster Flex. Later, having the chance to work with artists such as The Diplomats, from Lil Wayne to Wale, and of course, the late, great Nipsey Hussle. We have a great conversation lined up for everyone watching. So let me start off by introducing each of our phenomenal guests who are joining us today. So first and foremost is, which I'm really excited about, Ledisi is a Grammy Award-winning powerhouse vocalist with a career spanning almost 2 decades. Since arriving on the scene in the late 1990s, she has garnered 3 Soultrain Music Awards, an NAACP Theater Award, and 6 NAACP Image Awards. Most recently, she received 2 LA Alliance Ovation Award nominations, one for Best Feature Actress in a Musical. Ledisi is extremely passionate about being an advocate for the arts, lobbying for young musicians, and protecting the rights of creatives. Ledisi is excited about launching her new project, The Wild Card, on August 28th, 2021, on her new label, Listen Black Entertainment, and many other future projects coming out later this year. Ledisi, it's good to see you. Up next, we have Ryan Butler, who is an educator. He is a leader. He is the director of diversity, equity, and inclusion at the Recording Academy. And he formerly served as a member of their public policy team. Ryan recently, industry legal. Sorry, I kind of got off. Ryan, you have a lot happening with you. Let me start from the top because I want to make sure I get all of this right. Butler has a wealth of experience in the music industry from the legal field. Previously was an assistant dean and director at Hampton University in Virginia. Ryan has also worked in key roles from Atlantic Records to MTV to the RIAA. He has received his MA from New York University and his BA from Howard University. Ryan, I know I said a mouthful, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Trey, is Trey here yet? I don't think so. I'm gonna come back to his introduction because he'll be joining us in a bit. And last but certainly not least is P. Frank Williams, Emmy and 8-time NAACP Image Award. P. Frank Williams is a renowned writer, speaker, teacher, and producer. The versatile veteran executive producer has nearly 3 decades of experience in film, TV, and journalism, triple threat. Most recently, Williams worked as a co-executive producer at the Critical Content producing the police brutality series Cop Watch America for BET. Williams has been an EP at TMZ, who is also a producer and co-host with the rights attorney Ben Crump on the A&E biography investigation series about Tupac Shakur called Who Killed Tupac. Notable credits include Unsung and Unsung Hollywood documentary series, award-winning series America Gangster, and films like Wu, The Story of Wu-Tang Clan, A Hustler's Ambition, just to name a few. Williams was formerly an executive educator at The Source magazine, where he wrote the iconic cover story about Suge Knight, Eazy-E, Tupac Shakur, Dr. Dre, and many more. So P. Frank, hi, so happy you can join us today. I'm excited about today's conversation. So let's jump right into the discussion. Everyone ready?
All right.
Yeah. I'm here. I guess I'm gonna open up the floor for this question. How does what's happening in America right now shape or direct your work, if at all?
I can start. I know for me in 2020 of August 28th, I was debating whether or not to release my album, The Wild Card. And because the pandemic had happened and shut everything down. And I ended up releasing my first single, Anything for You. And it ended up being the best decision I ever made in my career. It made me fearless, more transparent, more in touch with my audience on a social platform that I've never done. Usually I do shows and reach my audience that way. But this time I had to do everything virtually and just reach into this computer screen, this little box, and say, hey, it's me, and do virtual shows to raise money for our recording academy with all of our musicians that were out of work too. So I did a lot that I would never do, which is show myself more. My thing is, I love the mystique, and, you know, I learned from old school, like Prince, you hide and, you know, you show your cards later. But this time during the pandemic, because that happened, it forced me to be more accessible to my audience. And that was really a fearless move for me. People don't know I'm very shy, but it's made me more vocal. It's empowered me as a Black woman, and I've never spoken up this much in my career ever, like I did in 2020, seeing everything that went on when we were marching and but promoting whatever I could to help. Anything to help was my thing, is to ignite and to inspire and inform. And that's what I continue to do now. It landed me being the new president of the LA chapter at the Recording Academy. All that work, I got my first Grammy this year. I mean, all this stuff because I opened my mouth, Karen. Like, you're used to this. I'm used to just singing and shutting up, you know, but this time it's time to open up and show who you are to the audience so they can see who's behind the music is a human. And I'm singing human songs. I'm talking about human experiences. And I feel good in the position I'm in. I'm able to help. And that's all I've ever wanted to do, was to help somebody with music. And now I know I'm using my other voice that I never thought. I mean, Michelle Obama was like, you need to do more, but, you know, now I'm like in it, Karen, like really in it, you know. And Ryan sees me, he's seen me hide, and now I'm like full on. Get y'all stuff together, you know what I mean? And I'm a proud SAG-AFTRA member, so I love that. I've been acting more, and that in a pandemic, how do you get on Pose and do film? And it's like I've used the other voice too to tell stories that I never thought I would get into again, because I was so busy on the road. And now it's forced me to sit still and become an actress as well and tell another part of my storytelling. It's blown me away. So while everybody's having a horrible year, I'm up here using all my whole self. And I'm so inspired and blessed and grateful for chaos, because it made me be still and focus.
Man, first and foremost, congratulations. The Grammy, from just the new position with the board. So I'm super excited for you. And I just was having this conversation with a friend too on just what 2020 and COVID. And it's just like, when we speak of our blessings, we get into this habit like, yeah, it's been kind of bad. I was happy, but I don't want to tell anyone. Love to hear it, given with the year that we've had. So especially when someone in our community has good news, always share it, please. Always. Ryan, this question is.
I was sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to give you your flowers, because you've been doing amazing things this year as well. You've had a major, I mean, listen, you were already at the top, but what you've been able to do during the pandemic to continue to grow your brand and to inspire others, because you've been an inspiration for me. So I just have to give you your flowers too.
Yes, Karen.
Thank you so much.
Moderator, but I have to say that.
Thank you.
It's the Grammy for me. It's the Madam President for me. And for me to even be in a room with P. Frank Williams when I've used his material to teach in classes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I was a professor at Hampton University, we used to discuss his work. And so to be on this panel, this group, is just an honor to me. So
I just wanted to pick up my brother, like this has been a horrific, crazy time, for all of us. And, I work very closely with Ben Crump. We did the show for Kill Talk. And so I'm doing one of his shows and, dealing with him and the trauma and the grief that happens of him being with Brianna and Ahmad and being involved with that and being in all these marches. And I think just having your mental health and being able to pivot to do that, I think it's an incredible time for musicians, for storytellers to take this wave of sort of Black popularity. There's a lot of people, getting opportunities they might not normally got in this situation. And, I'm very thankful that our art, Black art, has been what kept many people alive. So I'm thankful to be in this situation. And you know, COVID, you know, if you didn't get your hustle in COVID, then that was on you. You gotta take that for inspiration, you know.
Out there, the hustle was out there for sure.
Yeah.
Ryan, this next question is for you. Do you feel like Black music has had an effective impact in raising awareness and in creating change? I feel like P. Frank just touched on this.
Absolutely.
You can add on.
We don't even need to limit it to music. You know, I think that Black creators and Black art has been huge during the pandemic. So I wouldn't just limit it to music, although for me, you know, music is my first love. It's the transformational art form. It's the only art form that allows you to move from the third dimension to the fourth dimension. And so whether you experience that in church or just when you're, you know, in your bed, happy or sad, listening to music. So for me, yes, Black music and what Black creators have been able to pour into their music. And, you know, P. Frank spoke to this, Ledisi spoke to this, like the exposure of the soul happen when you have really nothing left but kind of yourself in a room to like really dissect and discover like what's going on with you, I think. And, you know, some people were inspired by that challenge. Some people saw it as an opportunity and then they go out and win their first Grammy, you know? I mean, I don't know. So I absolutely feel that Black music has in fact affected the impact.
One thing I'll say really quickly, you know, last year we did a show called Unsung Presents Music in the Movement. And the whole 2-hour show was about how Black music has been a part of social justice from the beginning, from the Negro rights spirituals to the 60s, you know, civil rights, you know, We Shall Overcome, to even the 70s, Gil Scott-Heron, you know, and obviously Marvin Gaye, you know, all of his songs, you know, and so even to the 80s with Melle Mel. And so Black music, you know, people like Ledisi, it's our continuance, the way that we speak, it's our pain, our whole thing in it. And so I'm just so thankful to see where it's at today and that we still continue to use that voice.
And I just wanted to add what P. Frank said. It's like, look at Do the Right Thing. We had Fight the Power. I mean, that's a whole masterclass. And I'm sure they teach it in school, right. But breaking how film and music go together, that whole creativity and dance is in there to give that extra. Like, we can't wait for that opening, you know what I mean? It's like all of it just reminds me of what we do as creators. It makes me feel like this whole thing that Spike did, just, I know when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God. And I had to study it in college. They broke it down for us. And we were all debating and about race and color and all these different debates. So that's a whole masterclass. But I'm just bringing up a really big movement there that still goes on today, because the kids love the 80s, you know. But wasn't that the 90s?
That was the 90s, I think.
You know,
we're not going to age ourselves.
Well, you know, I got the cross colors on today, so I had to take it back.
See, you get it.
Y'all might not even know. Karen look a little young to be knowing about cross colors.
No, I know a bit about cross colors.
Come on, Karen.
Karen, your Instagram is off the chain, man. I freaking love it.
Thank you. P. Frank, this is for you. As a producer, you have a wealth of experience working with chart-topping and iconic music producers. Are there any trends you've seen in this past year with R&B or hip-hop artists taking a more active role in being an advocate for the Black community?
Well, no, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that's happened to me out of this thing, as a person who's been in the music, sort of as a journalist at the LA Times and then at the Source, it's good to see mental health being talked about in such a progressive way, to, you know, not to be shunned for it, to be like, you know, in our community, a lot of times, oh, you're cool, don't worry about it. Go take an Advil or go sit down and get some air. And to be able to have musicians talk about that, you know, whether it be Little Baby, also talking about, you know, civil rights, guys who usually normally talk about clubs and partying, you know, are now talking about some significant things. And, you know, to see the substance, but also master's rights. You know, this is the Recording Academy, to see people talking about trying to get their masters back, Mace or whoever, or buying DMXs. I like the idea of us owning our art. I mean, many times, as Ledisi and all people know, you sign these deals to get on. And then, you know, maybe it's Mama Anita. She's like, I can't even get my own albums back. And so I'm very thankful to see all of these people who were so happy just to get on when I was doing it are now saying, let me own, distribute, put my own thing out. So Black independence on music, as well as cultural and mental, you know, health is good.
I would love to plus one on the mental health aspect. On May 24th, we hosted a Be Well special with the Black Music Collective focused on the mental health of Black creators and music professionals. And I can say transparently and honestly here in this space that therapy has been my come up during the pandemic. Like, if I did not have a therapist during the pandemic, I mean, I've had a couple promotions. I've made, I've done some things at the academy that, people that were unexpected to people. And I will say that it's because I made sure that mentally I was in the right space. And I love to see that it's not, Black women do a lot for the community. The community is on their backs. And I thank all Black queens right here. But I will also say that I give it up to our brothers, because our brothers have been in the space now pushing for mental health as well. I know it was the black women who kind of really started that trend, but it's great to see that now we recognize as a community the importance of Black health, and we're no longer shunning it. So if you haven't seen it, I think that it's still archived. It's a Be Well Black Music Collective. We had Creative Vibes Only and Shanti Das and Robert Glasper. So definitely go check it out on the Music Care site.
Ledisi, you have been using your voice to impact change and raise awareness. You have a song called I Can't Breathe with a stunning video. What was it like putting out that video for you with that message?
Well, Angela Lee Higgins wrote that song, and she sent it to me because someone was killed by police brutality. I won't bring it up right now. But it moved her to write the song, and she sent it to me and said, can you record it? I would love for you to record it. And then when my husband heard it, he said, let's do a video for it. It's just something really with all of our beautiful Black colors of every age group. And we did I Can't Breathe, and no one was listening to it when it first came out. So it took a while for people to get it a year later. And then India.Arie had a song, I Can't Breathe. And then Her came out with a song, I Can't Breathe. I hope we don't have to write another song like that. It's just every year we're writing I Can't Breathe. And it's as powerful as all of those versions are. I still just want us to stop having to say it. But we're saying it. I can't breathe. And I did it because, and I spent my own money. We spent all our own money to record it and made it happen. So I'm glad it's out there as for people to know that I've always been speaking up about things through music, about domestic violence and molestation and everything. I talk about it, but I do it in a way that's subtle. People are dancing and then they're going, wait a minute, what's this about? Because I don't like telling people what to do, but I like to show them what I do and lead by example, and hopefully they get it.
We're gonna take a slight break. I believe Trey is here now.
Hey, Trey.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, what up with you folks? How you doing?
What up?
Let me introduce you real quick, and we're gonna have you come into the conversation. Trey the Truth is an acclaimed recording artist, activist, and humanitarian who uses his platform to stand up for the communities while dedicating both his time and money to be a voice of change. His nonprofit organizations, Angel by Nature and Relief Gang, have benefited charitable causes serving countless families. Trey the Truth has been recognized by companies such as Ford Motor Company, Shell, NAACP for his tireless commitment to render aid to the downtrodden and also serve as an ambassador for Habitat for Humanity. His music is often inspired by the experiences of disenfranchised, and he is candid about his pain through his prolific lyrics. Inspired by his work, Trey the Truth has also partnered with endless stream of celebrities, including Beyonce, T.I., Colin Kaepernick, and Estelle, just to name a few, all working together to make a difference in the community. Trey the Truth is recently received Billboard's Changemaker Award. Congratulations on that. where he was recognized for his philanthropy work, social justice advocacy. Thank you so much for joining us, Trey.
Appreciate you. You know, it's mandatory. How you doing?
I'm good. We're gonna get back into this conversation right now. You're good for taking questions first, or wait it out a little bit?
Get as much done you need me to do while I can.
Okay, cool. Let me go back to this. Sorry, 1 second, everyone. My screen just closed.
Well, thank you for your work, Trey. I've been following you for a year now. I'm late to the whole Trey world, but I caught up. You're wonderful. Thank you for your work. Just wanted to say that.
And by the way, Trey,
I'm Ledisi, sorry.
Trey was just profiled on my BET digital series, Rebels with a Cause. We did a whole almost 12-minute piece on Trey and all his great work. And you can catch that on BET Digital Facebook. My brother, Trey, one of the great poets and historians of our culture and humanitarians, my brother.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah.
+1 to everything that P. Frank and Ledisi said. It's an honor to be here with you today. So I just wanted to welcome you to this chat and thank you for all that you do for our community.
Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
So we're all acclimated. Trey, this question is for you. Earlier this year, you accepted the second ever Changemaker Award at the Billboard Music Awards, being recognized for your philanthropy and social justice work. Can you tell us what this means to you?
It definitely means a lot. At first, I'm one of them people, I don't believe in the award thing. I feel like the work got to get done regardless. And I was more receptive to it due to the relationships of me and Killer Mike and Daytwan. And I think as time went by, I started realizing this is kind of a major thing. And I've learned over the years, man, sometimes God sends blessings in different ways. So you got to be cautious before you turn them away. And I believe it's a crazy feeling because it opened doors. There was so many people that didn't know the work that I did. There's so many people that did know that I didn't know knew about the work that I did. So it opened doors in all aspects, but also for me, I feel it's really major because it's like they came to the trenches to get somebody, and this never been done before. Like, it's not you usually get the polished up or not to say people don't do the work, but y'all came to the mud, to the bottom to get somebody that everybody really rocks with. And it's so crazy. After I left the award, I went back home. That award, even though I won the award, the city of Houston feel that's their award. It didn't. The award was outside all weekend. People was determined just to even get by it. So.
Ryan, let's switch over to work that you have been doing with the Recording Academy. You have been an advocate and doing work-related stuff for Black voices and people of color. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I'll start off with the work that's really been done behind the scenes, and that's, appointing our first ever Black president and chief executive officer, Harvey Mason Jr., who officially started yesterday. So that's a big hats off to him, and congratulations to all of that hard work and the change that he's been driving behind the scenes. And none of it would be possible if we didn't have Harvey in leadership. But we established a strategic partnership with Color of Change. We invested the $1 million and we launched the Change Music Roadmap that focused on the advancement of Black creators and professionals. And so that really, the point of that was to take it beyond conversation and intention and really into action. So for companies how do I do this, right? We all know why we should do it. We all know what we should do, but the how is where we kind of get lost. And so this lays it out for all music professionals and creators. And that's the Change Music Roadmap, colorofchange.org/changemusic. We also formalized diversity, equity, and inclusion at the Recording Academy. We have a dedicated full-time department focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion outcomes across the organization in music. And so it wasn't just a performative move for us to hire a chief diversity and inclusion officer. She was actually resourced. She has a director, we have a coordinator, we have regular meetings, we convene the industry that haven't been done before. And so I think that's really important. We launched the Black Music Collective, which is a huge advisory board. Ledisi is part of that, and we installed DEI ambassadors across 12 chapters to drive impact and change for Black and underrepresented creators. And we achieved gender parity and race, gender and race parity across our staff and executive leadership. And so that's a little bit of what we're doing behind the scenes for Black creators specifically. And Ledisi has been involved in every step. When I was in DC, she was on the advocacy committee, and she was working behind the scenes. When I moved to LA and started with diversity, she's been involved and is now president of the LA chapter. And I can't wait. The LA chapter is really what I call the pioneers of diversity at the chapter level. They created things like Care for the Culture, they have LGBT programming, they are really AAPI programming, they are really driving and being a great example of what chapters can do, because DEI should be embedded at all levels across all verticals, right? And when all of us can operate as DEI officers, then Velicia's job is done and my job is done. And that's how we should really be at companies. Everybody should be holding everybody accountable. There shouldn't be one police in the room saying, oh, wait a minute, we should be thinking about this. Hopefully at the end, we're always just thinking about it and we don't have to talk about it because it's just embedded in what we do.
Can you tell us a little bit about Blackout Tuesday as well?
Oh, yeah. So Blackout Tuesday, we participated in Blackout Tuesday. We closed our doors. Today is the 1 year anniversary. So we did participate in Blackout Tuesday. We were one of the only organizations in the music industry to respond to the founders, Jamila and Brianna. They had a data request on Black representation within companies, and they wanted it in 30 days. And if anybody knows Velicia, you know that we had to beat the 30 days. And so we worked for 20 some odd days on making sure that we answered all their questions. And it was actually great for us to also have, for us to know a baseline and where we needed to grow and where there were opportunities and how we could really embed the work. And so I'm really, really thankful to the continued partnership with The Show Must Be Paused, for what Jamila and Brianna are doing at with Blackout Tuesday, and happy anniversary to them.
Ledisi, you're releasing a project, Ledisi Sings Nina, coming out on July 23rd. You seem to have a keen eye for aligning yourself with strong Black women. Was this always your passion as an artist?
As a human, I'm around a strong Black woman, my mother. So I have no choice but to be that. And when I decided to do projects like, I just filmed a Mahalia Jackson story. She's from New Orleans originally. Powerful woman, cared about money and taking care of her family and ownership. As well as Nina, she always wanted her ownership and was very vocal. They just came to me. I don't go to them, they come to me. It's just if I have this voice, this gift, I use it to honor my ancestors first before I do what I do. And so if it ignites some memories and remind people of who came before us, then I use it for that. And so Nina was a powerful force. I mean, she looked like me. She sounded like me. I used to cuss on stage. I'm grown now. I don't have to do that. But I was the same kind of person. I didn't know where that anger came from. And it came from not being appreciated. And she taught me that by understanding her story. Same with Mahalia, just not being appreciated enough and just fighting for ownership. And yeah, so I think they just gravitate towards me. I mean, every tribute on TV, who you see? Me. They calling me to come sing their song. So it's like, I have to honor my folk before I can do what I do. And I think I don't complain about it. A lot of people shy from it. I take it as a badge of honor. Like I'm giving homage and now I can do what I do. So it just comes to me and that's how it works. So Nina was the first, when I did Black Girls Rock with Jill Scott, Marsha Ambrosius, and Kelly Price, it was the first time I was ever accepted on television. And And I had to walk through that door to become Ledisi that you see today. So I'm appreciative of every moment like that. And again, that came to me. It wasn't something I went for. They didn't even ask for me, but two people believed in me. And all you need is one person to believe in you, really, even if it's just you. So, but I luckily had another person to say, hey, why don't you call Ledisi? No one knew who the hell I was. And I only had 32 seconds to make it count. And I sure did. Then 32 seconds has last forever. So that's all I have to say about that. But thanks for asking me, Karen.
And Ledisi, if you ever need me, I got you.
No, I was going to say the same to you, sir. You need me. I'm from the boot originally, New Orleans. So in Oakland, I'm all jumbled up like a jambalaya. You need me, I'm there.
Now I feel like 1 year from now, the song's going to be out. We're going to be at the Grammys hearing it performed, and it all started. It all started here.
I'm with you, Karen. I'm with you. I do the same. And listen, I trust your vision, Karen, because if you don't have anything, Karen, you got the vision, okay?
I see it. It's starting right here. Frank, you're going to produce it. I see it.
There we go.
I see it.
Yeah.
Ryan, this question is for you. Recently, the Recording Academy has went through some incredible changes, which have been amazing for promoting diversity and inclusion for Black artists. That goes for the voting process and ways to protect the integrity of the awards. Can you just highlight why that was important to the organization?
It was important for us to be transparent and equitable in the awards process, to erase and decode all of that secrecy that was connected to the Grammys. And so for the first time, the rule book is available online, and that I don't want to get too much Recording Academy talk, but we have a committee that's called Awards and Nominations. And that committee is the committee that is in charge of deciding on new rules for the awards process. And so diversity, equity, and inclusion was embedded in that committee. And I watched with my own eyes how the Academy truly shifted to a new Academy and is now really dedicated to equitable outcomes for all creators, and removing barriers. And no, yes, we still have work to do, and no, we didn't do everything in 1 year, but I think that we've shown a true commitment to the process. And if you are in the rooms, you can feel it and you can see it. Maybe Ledisi can attest to this and say like that she sees a difference or feels a difference. I don't want to just be out here, but
it's 17 years of being a part of the Academy. I started as a volunteer and I wasn't even a member yet. And I became a member because I saw the work outside of the Grammy. Around it was Music Cares, Music Grammy Museum, all the things that help people when they're in need, and put money into the schools. That's what made me become a member, not just to try to get a Grammy. I mean, I want it to happen, but if it didn't, I was fine with the work that I was doing. And so still doing. And I love that in 17 years, I've seen so many changes, so many diverse people in the room. It's not just one thing. It's full of many, many different people in the room making decisions. It's us there, your peers, making these comments and changes that are happening right now. So people think it's some one person behind the curtain. It's not the Wiz, y'all. It's us.
Obviously, we had work to do on making sure that our leadership that ladders up to the committees is diverse, right? And so when you embed more diversity at the chapter levels, at the local levels, in our membership across all communities, then you start to see the change. Like, this didn't just happen because, George Floyd was murdered a year ago. This work was in progress and just happened to sync up. And yes, we got to accelerate the work because of the unfortunate events that were happening in America, but the work was already being done. And I'll just end on saying that our North Star for diversity, equity, and inclusion at the Recording Academy is to reflect the diverse music community and the world that we represent. We have a lot of work to do, and we recognize that learning and unlearning inclusive practices are key. So,
Ryan, Ledisi, thank you so much for that transparency. And for our audience watching, I know for our panelists, some of the questions I may be asking may seem a little bit like redundant, or you're like, why am I answering that? But for our audience who may not be familiar with certain things, how the inner workings may be with, like, Ledisi, you being an introvert and switching your behavior patterns during COVID. Ryan, all the work that you're doing with your organizations, the Recording Academy, being the only organization that stepped up into the challenge of Blackout Tuesday, to P. Frank, all the work that you're doing behind the scenes. So thank you so much for the transparency during this whole conversation. I just want to make sure I got that out there. And Trey, this question is for you. You've been an activist for more than, I want to say, like 2 decades now, if I'm correct, right?
Tell people don't call me that. I'm just Trey.
Okay. Okay. How about this? A man of the people, or for the people. Okay. You've been a man for the people for about two decades now. What made you become so dedicated and focused on your philanthropic endeavors?
I think that's just my heart in general. You know, that it's been me since a child. I think coming up in the streets, experienced a lot of things that I experienced, even to this day, still being there. It's like, I remember many a times that I felt like it was just me against the world, and I didn't have someone to lean on or someone to hold a conversation with or even give me that boost. And I always said, man, if I ever got in position, I was going to do what a real big homie was supposed to do and try and reach back and take care of my people in the process. And I think being a teenager and starting that process, just seeing how that lit up people's days and how it kept them going, and how I may have stopped them from doing something that probably could have cost them their life by just even taking the time to even hear what they had going on or be there. Because it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about just caring in general. And I think the fact of doing that, it made me go harder and harder. And I'm one of the people, when I do something, I'm consistent. Like, it's not an option for me to stop. Like, I feel fake if I do something one time, even if it was something real big and good, and then keep it moving. That don't make me feel comfortable. So I continue to do what I do on a consistent basis. And it's been 2 decades, but it's probably going to be 4, 5, 6 if God let me live to see that long. But definitely, man. And it's like, I do a little bit of everything, because, you know, some people only see the philanthropy part. Some people see that the activist part. Some people see just the music part. Some people see the big homie part. Some people see the business. It's just, I do a little bit of everything. But at the end of the day, the common goal is being there for the people and being true to myself, man. Somebody that's transparent and genuine. Because the thing is, once you gain the trust of the people, you never jeopardize that for nothing.
P. Frank, let's switch it over to you. You grew up in Oakland. How did that experience shape you as a producer, for telling your stories, for working with musical artists, to just maybe even guiding your activism work?
Well, no, thanks for the question. It's an important question. I think where you come from has a lot to do with how you become. You know, I think obviously growing up in Oakland, where it's home of Black Panther Party, Hells Angels, the Black, gay movement, to, all kind of progressive, all of the weirdos come from the Bay Area. And so, I think that it gave us a do for self sort of mentality. Too Short, E40, they're all like, nobody's going to give us a chance. So we're going to sell our records out of the trunk, in terms of, you guys are work as musicians, and we're not going to wait for Jive or Atlantic or, RCA to come. So in my business, I do the same thing. And, coming from the source, hip hop, our attitude has always been, nobody expected for us to win. They didn't even want us to become an art form. They wouldn't even let us in their clubs or on their shows, right? And so now, when we're all popping and it's all good, and Drake is #1. So, we think like outsiders. I think Oakland, that mentality is like, we're not going to wait, and it's ironic that you see now the whole Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, and all these things. Huey and Bobby, the reason why they started the Black Panther Party was because of police brutality. So I want to make sure that we're just in a cyclical situation. It's not like the mountain has moved. And so I think for me, I keep one foot in the streets where I hang out with Suge, and then, Pac mentality, and I keep one foot in mainstream white Hollywood. So in my own company, I try to provide as many opportunities as I can for young people of color. A lot of times in these Hollywood shows, it's about people of color, but there's no people of color other than me working on it. So, I got the Black Power fist and got the capitalism on the other side. So I'm rocking one fist Huey and one fist Bobby.
Before I switch over to audience questions, I have one last question for everybody on the panel. Any advice for the current or next generation of artists who are watching right now? What can they do to keep the work going? Anyone? There you go, Ryan.
First I'm gonna say happy Black Music Month to everyone, happy Pride to everyone. And so for me, I led with that to say, live your truth and be your authentic self is the best that you can do, like for any movement, right? To be fully who you are and committed to the change and committed to being great. Like, it's like anything else, right? Like that body we want for the summer, we have to be committed to that body, right? That change that we want in our community, we have to be committed to that change. And the best way is to show up as you are and who you are. And I think like that's very important because we still have some work to do in the Black community when it comes to the queer community, right? Like, trust me, I know, right? When I walk into a mainstream room, I'm a Black man. When I walk into a Black room, I'm a gay man. And so I have to deal with that duality. And we have a lot in our community that I think, some work that we need to do, but I see it happening. And so I just would encourage all young Black creators and professionals to be okay being exactly who you are, accept your weirdness, your queerness, and everything else, and just contribute. Don't be afraid.
I love that. Did anyone want to add anything else?
Just be fearless. Not only be yourself, but be fearless. That's easy to say, but the blessing is you have to go through that door of fear to get to the blessing on the other side. It's just part of the whole walk that I've been on. Everything I've gotten is from going past that fear. I'm afraid every time I get on stage, but I get my butt up there and I make it possible. And I'm doing things now that I would never have done 2 years ago because I had to be fearless. So, and prayer is my ultimate for me, whatever your faith is. For me, I just love praying and thanking God for every little journey, every little step. Every little step counts. Don't think of the big one. That's going to happen.
Right.
It's your destiny. But the little steps, the journey, the walk, enjoy the journey. Find the lesson and be fearless.
It's been a tough year, and I think the morning that Kobe died, it was cataclysmic. And I knew Kobe a little bit, and then obviously to see Chadwick, and then X, and then my Marky D's a friend of mine, and you only have that much time. You really don't know. It could be you. Kobe had $800 million, and that still didn't stop it from happening. So you got to wake up every day like you might not have it tomorrow. Nip passed away in a situation that was just, you couldn't even predict that, right? So I'm like urging you to understand that, if you didn't learn from COVID that it could be over tomorrow and try to live your dream, one of the things I say a lot is why shoot the breeze about it when you could be about it? You could talk all day about what I'm going to do and my potential, the song I'm going to make. My daughter is 6 years old, and Ledisi, she's like, I want to make music. Well, here's a song. She wrote a song about her dolls. And I was like, well, just go record it, even if you don't know how to do it, whatever. So just go do it, whatever it is.
+1.
We have a number of questions from members that have come in. We may not get through all of these, so let's just jump right in. P. Frank, this is for you. How do you define social justice?
It's a deep question. Well, in terms of my art, I use my art as a weapon. Bobby and Huey used a gun. I use the video camera to showcase and tell pictures and do that. I use my art sometimes to help. As a parent, I want to feed you vegetables, but you probably want candy. So I want to do American Gangster, and you love American Gangster, right? The trap queens and they're balling out and whatever. But I told you that there was a price that they had to pay, that they went to jail, that they lost their family. So I use my art to try to teach you a lesson, or hope you get some gain from it. And so social justice is anything that's advancing the cause, whether it be gay rights, whether it be Black rights, whether it be whatever it is you want to do, your brand. I think that social justice is advancing the voices of people who don't normally get heard. And I'm working with Ben now, and Ben and I are doing a show, Ben Crump, and it's been interesting to see the networks want the notoriety but not want to deal with the social justice part of it, because social justice may not be as popular. So I've had to make sure that the show is interesting and entertaining, but also has a message. So I use my art to try to tell stories about, underrepresented people.
Ledisi and Trey, this question is for you. As artists, do you feel a responsibility to speak out on injustices in your music? Is this something that you wanted to do?
Want me to let you go first, Ledisi, or you want me to go?
Yeah, whatever you like. Okay.
Ladies first.
I think it's a lot of pressure to put on an artist to change the world. I just say do what comes naturally. It would be great if we all did something to give back, be of service, which is what I'm doing. I just like to do it privately. I'm learning how to be more open and transparent. So this is new for me. But being of service has given me great joy. I hope more can look at my example, and hopefully they'll want to. That's all I can do. But I like to show people and not tell them.
As far as for me, I don't really look at it as an entertainer or a musician, just as a human being. I think at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter what title a person is. If it's from the heart and you genuinely trying to get out there and help the people, do what you can. And sometimes there may be things you can't do. That don't mean it's the end of the world, as long as you go to the end trying to do everything that you can. That's all that matters. But I do want to clarify one thing, man. A lot of people look at what I do and they put a lot of pressure on artists and be like, well, why you not doing what Trey do, or this and that? And I always try to tell people, man, don't do that to people, because if they want to help, let them help on their own time, on their own terms. If that's what it is, I don't want to make somebody else feel like they have to be responsible. I chose to do it because once I stepped in them shoes, now if I don't jump on the front line, it makes me feel uncomfortable. So that's why I'm so dedicated to it, because it's like I in a sense, took a silent oath that I'm gonna be there for the people. And that's just what I do day in, day out.
Ryan, this question is for you. Are there any music-related organizations you can suggest that our audience can get involved in?
I definitely say Color of Change is a way for you to, if you really want to do it on the ground level. They're doing lots of things. I forgot to mention that we're releasing an inclusion writer. I know that Michael B. Jordan led the way on the film side, and the Recording Academy will be leading the way for inclusion writers on the music side. And so I'm happy to say that. So Color of Change is great. The Show Must Be Paused is still meeting, and they have regular meetings. So I would say definitely align with Jamila and Brianna. They're doing amazing things over there. Black Music Collective, follow Black Music Collective. We're doing lots of programming and events. And it's not necessarily one that you join, but I'd say please look at our programs, our events that we will be offering to the community.
Ryan, Ledisi, P. Frank, Trey the Truth, I want to thank you so much for joining me for this conversation today and answering the questions from our audience.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you too.
Thank you. I'm going to segue it back to Duncan, who is going to wrap us up. Duncan?
Yes, thank you so much, and thank you for the amazing discussion. Really appreciate that, and we really can't thank you enough for all that you've shared with us and our audience today. The work that you're doing and the messages that you're sharing with the world to highlight injustice really matters, and so for that, we thank you for participating in this platform, and we hope to have all of you back someday soon on another one of our live streams, or hopefully in person. Again, if you want to learn more about the Recording Academy and all of their services, please visit their website at grammy.com. That's GRAMMY.com. And a very special thanks to all of you who've been tuning in each week for our President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement live streams. If you haven't already, while you're here, please subscribe to SAG-AFTRA's YouTube channel to get updates on all the great content that we're posting. Thanks again so much, and have a great day, everybody.
Take care, man.